Hey everyone, my name's Ali and welcome back to my channel, Mindful Living. If you're interested in unique recipe ideas, gardening and growing your own food, along with finding joy in the ordinary like me, then make sure to hit that subscribe button because I upload new videos every week. Okay, so in today's video, I wanted to share with you guys what I think are the easiest edible plants to grow from seed. If you've never grown your plants from seed before, do not be afraid. It's actually a lot easier than you would think. A lot of people tend to buy transplants because it's simple, but it is a lot more expensive to garden that way. When you garden with seeds, you get so many seeds for only about $3 to $4 a pack, and I personally prefer to grow my vegetables and herbs from seed. When it comes to growing your own from seed, there's just a few things to keep in mind. You want to make sure you have a grow light and that your seedlings are getting anywhere from 14 to 16 hours of light a day. You also want to make sure to have a regular watering schedule. You never want the seedlings to dry out, especially during the germination process. I make sure to check on my seedlings every day, and that's all it really takes to basically be successful in growing your own from seed. Some plants can be a little bit trickier, but I'm going to show you guys today what I think are the easiest plants that you can start from seed. Okay, so let's get started with number one here. So microgreens are really easy to grow from seed, and they are really inexpensive opposed to buying them in the grocery store. Just showing you guys here, you don't need any big containers. I just grow them in little tiny containers like this, and you just heavily seed the soil. I actually don't cover the soil, and I just simply stack them while they're in the germination process and cover the top here. And before you know it, there's going to be tons of growth happening. These only take a few days to sprout. I'm growing a few different things here. There is mustard oriental greens, alfalfa, and a mix of radishes and broccoli. You can choose to buy your own microgreen seeds, or you can just use regular seeds. Both work just as well. I do have my microgreens growing under a grow light, or you can put them in a sunny spot near a window. And this is only about 5 days of growth. You guys can see just how fast these grow. They're really great to add into sandwiches, on top of an omelet or scrambled eggs. You can add them into your salads or a smoothie, and they add tons of nutrients. Microgreens are known for their high nutrient content. They are rich in vitamin C, vitamin K, potassium, iron, zinc, and more. I really love the taste of them, and they can easily be grown in any size container. You don't even need drainage holes for your microgreens really, because they're going to grow so fast and then you'll be harvesting them. Just keep in mind that microgreens are more prone to growing mold because there is so many in a tiny little space, so you want to make sure you're checking to make sure there is no mold growth, as obviously you do not want to be eating microgreens with mold. I have heard from other people that that has been a common problem. Make sure to keep the soil moist and leave it in a well-ventilated area. You can put a fan around just to circulate the air and make sure that that doesn't happen. Okay, and moving on to number two, which is green onions. Green onions are really easy to grow from seed. I started these less than a month ago and mine are doing really well. I did start mine inside under a grow light, and then I transferred them into a container and sowed a few extra seeds. And before you know it, I had tons of green onions growing. Of course, green onions can be added into a variety of different meals, and I highly recommend them for any beginner gardeners out there. Chives are really easy as well to grow from seed. They will take over a container if you plant them with other herbs, so you want to make sure to keep your chives growing in their own separate container. Okay, next up is basil. I love growing basil. This is a summer staple for me. It is so easy for you to grow from seed, so I highly recommend you give it a try. Basil simply loves the sun and lots of hot temperatures, so it's perfect to grow in the summertime. I have basil growing in a couple different spots on my balcony. I have it growing in my herb garden, and I also have it growing in its own separate container. My favorite thing to make with my basil is homemade pesto, so make sure to stick around on my channel as I will be sharing the recipe this year. You can add it into salads and tons of dishes to add extra flavor. So yeah, I highly recommend you try growing that one from seed. It doesn't take much work, and basil will continue to produce all summer long. Okay, moving on to plant number 4, which is kale. Kale is one of my favorite leafy greens. It's so easy to grow from seed. I started this one inside in a Jiffy pod, and it wasn't long before I was transferring it outside into a bigger size container. Kale is packed with tons of nutrients, it's really good for you, it's really fast to grow, and all you need is a fairly large size container because one kale plant is going to grow pretty huge, which I will show you guys as we keep going here. So this is my kale plant after about a month or so of growth. As you can see, the leaves are really big, really lush and green. I can't wait to finally do a harvest of this. I just want to wait for the leaves to get a little bit bigger. This is the most recent footage I have taken of my kale plant. I highly recommend kale is one that you grow from seed. It's so satisfying to grow it yourself, and it's really easy, so you don't need to buy a transplant for this one. Okay, and the next thing on my list is lettuce. You can simply grow lettuce from seed. I'm going to show you guys how I do that. I'm growing a variety of different lettuces in this container. Lettuce is very easy for any beginner gardeners. You can sow multiple seeds and they're very fast to come up through the soil. And honestly, lettuce is so fast producing, you can continue to harvest off of it throughout the season, and it will continue to produce. So it's a plant that I especially love growing in my garden. I enjoy lots of different salads in the summertime, and I have to say that growing your own, it just tastes so fresh and so crisp. I really enjoy my homegrown lettuce, and it's become a staple for me. Before you know it, it grows super fast. You guys can see there. This is just a week or so in between the footage. Super dense all the way down into the container. Make sure to watch out for aphids with your salad greens. They like to bury deep into the center of them. I had a problem one year with that, but I've been quite lucky. Just gonna do a quick harvest of my leaves here and make up a quick salad. Like I said, I love enjoying fresh salad in the summer. It's so refreshing, full of lots of nutrients, and it doesn't get better than homegrown. Okay, next up on my list, number 6 is arugula. I've grown arugula pretty much every year in my garden. It's very fast producing, even faster than lettuce, and it's usually one of the first seeds to come up through the soil. Within 1 to 2 weeks, you're gonna have tons of growth like this. Again, it does keep producing as long as you do the cut and come again method, which is trimming the outer leaves of your plant and leaving the new growth in the middle to keep producing. You always want to make sure you're giving your greens tons of water to keep them nice and bright green like this. And like I said, you can just harvest the outer leaves and make tons of delicious salads. I even love adding arugula on top of my burgers, things like that. It really does add a nice peppery kick. If you guys missed my video harvesting and making this salad that I did last year, you can go back on my channel and check that out as well. Okay, and last on my list is herbs. Herbs are really great for beginner gardeners. If you want to grow from seed, they're fairly simple. Just keep in mind there is a few herbs that will take a little longer to come through the soil. Herbs like rosemary and oregano can take a little longer to come up to the soil, and in particular, my rosemary took the longest. So make sure to sow your seeds early in the season. I sowed mine about March, but of course it depends on your area. But things like basil and parsley and dill, they're fairly fast and really easy for you to grow from seed. So here I have Italian parsley, dill, rosemary, and oregano growing in my herb garden. Herbs grow really fast and they don't require much care. All of my herbs have been very resistant to pests or bugs, which is really great. So it's definitely something I recommend for you to grow from seed. I hope if you guys enjoyed this video today, you will leave me a like, leave me a comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. And of course, stay tuned on my channel for the next video coming. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next one.